Hello everyone, welcome back. This video, honestly, it's not even going to be that much happier than the last one, but I think it'll be more informative. I went to Chick-fil-A today and it was the nice Chick-fil-A, and the last time I was there I met this man and he was telling me all about how he made his first million by stealing domains. I think I made a video on this already, but basically he stole the domain for one of I believe it was the Olympics. It was either the Olympics or the Super Bowl, I don't remember. And then he took all the social media sites and then sold it back. And that's what he does. He just sits on website names and then sells it back to the company. And we were having that discussion, and I just remember him telling me that dancing was the lowest thing someone could do because it was selling your body. And then I thought it was kind of weird because, you know, he was out here taking people's dream businesses and selling them. But I was sitting in that Chick-fil-A and I've been thinking a lot about music recently because I've gone through so much with it, and it was the reason I came to Atlanta in the first place, and I've quit it so many times without formally saying I quit it, but I really have quit it a lot. And I had the idea of going through all of my false starts and bad things happening afterwards just over the last 2 years, because I'm 25 now. I came to Atlanta when I was 23. I just turned 25. No, I came when I was 22, and I would have just turned, yeah, so 22. And I just turned 25. So basically I came less than 2.5 years ago. But I wanted to explain why it is so hard to make it in music as a woman, because you always hear about people talking about the difficulty of making it in music and then, you know, being screwed over in their deals. Just having so many people to compete with. But I want to bring you a woman's perspective. And not only a woman's perspective, but somebody who moved to a new city all by themselves with no family backing, no safety net, no money. I had 2 friends at the time, 3, that I left in Texas. I started from ground zero, and I went through so much with men and the business, and I wrote down my most pivotal moments as to why it has been so hard. Because people say it, but they don't really live it, and I'm here to tell you. We're gonna start off with my very first open mic that I had when I came to Atlanta, and the place actually closed down now, funny enough. I think it was called there's 2 of them. There's blue something something and then red something something in Buckhead, and the red something something where it was held, and then they shut it down. You'll know what I'm talking about. If you live here, you know what I'm talking about. But I went to an open mic there, and it was hosted by, let me not say the wrong thing, one of the radio stations hosted it, and it was a competition, and I sang there, and I sang Inventing Anna. It went well, but I didn't win anything. And I thought it was weird because the person who won, she was homeless. And, well, this is gonna... whatever the fuck. I had no money either, okay? I wasn't homeless, but I had no money. And I wasn't, projecting to everyone that I had no money. And that was actually part of the reason, too, that I started even trying to strip. Because I was running out of money, and then I was like, oh, God, if I'm gonna do all these open mics, I'm not gonna be able to afford it with what I'm working with. And that was one of the reasons, too, why I ended up... because I had it in my head, I'm going to strip for 6 months. This is going to be over. I'm going to have a bunch of money, and then I'll be able to go to these open mics, and I'm just going to become famous overnight. And it really bothered me at that open mic, because I felt like they were just picking her out of pity, and they were saying, crowd reactions, but I felt like it was... I didn't have nobody with me. How was I going to have a crowd reaction? But this is the important part. So I walked out with one of the radio people, and he had blue eyes, and he would have been handsome if he wasn't a creep. And he walked me back to my car, And then he asked me if I could drive him back to his car. And I thought, you know, like, why not? Like, he did me such a favor to walk me here. So then I let him come in my car and we drive, and then we park in the parking lot behind the building. And then he's just talking, and he's like berating me, telling me about how there's so many singers that moved to Atlanta, and why am I any different? Why would I even make it? And at that time, I was keeping my gun in my glove compartment. And now, well, I can't tell people where. My gun is a lot closer to me than it was, and it was on the passenger side. And I had to yell at him 3 times to get out of my car, scream at him. And he like reached over and was touching my arm and all this shit. And he was older than me. I was like 22. And he had to be at least like late 30s, early 40s. And then it was wild too, because he DM'd me over Instagram maybe 6 months ago. And then I told him everything he did to me, and that I even like had to switch the position of my gun now because I knew I couldn't get my gun to shoot him because it was on the other side of my car and that's where he was. And he like denied everything, and then I blocked him. And he was trying to be like, oh, I'm all love. Like, fuck you. Fuck you. You're all lust. There is no love. But that was my introduction to to Atlanta. And I did a lot of open mics in that time period. Nothing really came of it until January. I will get there. In November, that was when I went on American Idol, and I made it all the way to the celebrity round. It's really frustrating too, because I like told somebody that about that recently, and then they were trying to pull it up on the internet, and all you have on the internet is videos of me talking about it. Going wrong. But you're welcome to look at that video if you'd like. The biggest thing about that was not only I didn't make it because Katy Perry asked me if I would dance to Dark Horse, and then I laughed at her, and then it just went downhill from there. But then my friend's manager, he was trying to get me back to his hotel room, and I ran like 2 miles in the night to get away from him and go back to my hotel room because I was in downtown Nashville, and I didn't even trust an Uber driver to pick me up. But you're welcome to look at that story too. And that same person too. Like, I remember him opening his wallet and telling me how different people were motivated by different things. And he had a family and everything. So that was November of 2023. Then in January came, and I sang at the Trap City Cafe. I love that place. There's nothing bad I can say about that place. And I had red hair at the time. And this guy who was a producer for T.I. and T.I.'s manager both saw me sing. And the producer was telling me how he wanted to get in the studio with me and how we were going to make all this happen. But then the producer ended up flying to New York for whatever reason, and we kind of lost contact over the next 3 weeks. But he was just saying all this shit about how I see that you're going to be a star and I have the vision. And nothing happened with that. I can't really say anything negative about that. I love that place. I've gone back to sing there a lot, and the DJ there, he's great. DJ Cookbook, amazing. Yeah, I have nothing bad to say about that. It was a letdown though, not hearing back from that person. Then in February, so January, February, and I was working at Cheetah from November all the way until I believe the end of April, beginning of May. And I was around all of these famous people too. And the whole time I was at Cheetah, I just had this extreme level of delusion that I was going to make it. Even after the American Idol thing too, I didn't know they weren't going to air me. So I thought, even though it went horribly and I was traumatized by it, I knew it was going to make good TV. I knew that would be a viral moment for me if they hadn't have not aired me. Like, and I was literally counting down the days until it aired. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be famous. But they never aired me. I was like, is this the price I have to pay? Like, making fun of myself? February came. That's when I met the man who would rape me. And then I would have to have an abortion from it. And he said he owned this big record label but it wasn't big. The LLC had been dissolved a year before. Like, it was all lies. But because I was in the environment of Cheetah and I was around all these celebrities coming all the fucking time, I met Jack Harlow, Tyler the Creator, Summer Walker, other people I don't really remember. But I was meeting all these people, so when someone told me something, I believed them. And I was very green. Like, at that time, I was 23. And I don't think I would have been lured in by him if he hadn't had the music entry. Like, he even had this huge chain on him, and it said Family First. And that was supposed to be the name of his record label. But yeah, I had to leave Cheetah because of that, because they didn't believe me. And then 6 months later, I would make a police report in the Special Victims Unit of downtown Atlanta. And then I would try to file a, restraining order twice. And they never took the time to go find him. And then I was dating a millionaire at that point, and he got me a lawyer to sue Cheetah, but I didn't go through with that. And after the rape, I didn't sing for almost a year. And I thought I was gonna go to law, and I turned around and it's not funny, but like, my rebound rate is just... In June, I was studying for the LSAT, and I took the LSAT in October, November, and I got a 145 on it. I was preparing to go to Georgia State. I was looking at apartments in downtown Atlanta, and I thought I was going to study entertainment law in Atlanta and in Georgia State. And then when I went to court to get the restraining order against him, they filed it incorrectly, and they put me, instead of seeing him as a complete stranger, they were seeing him as like my boyfriend. And I had a victim advocate and everything, and they just didn't take the time to go through my case. And I was told to write a testimony, so I wrote 12 pages detailing everything he did, detailing the harassment of him, because he didn't leave me alone. He kept going back to the club. And then his friends, who still to this day come to the club that I've been at, that I'm trying to leave. To this day, I still come. I saw one of his friends last week. But yeah, the judge made fun of me in front of the whole court, and then asked, like, why did I give her my diary? And I was supposed to take my second LSAT too. I think it was that weekend, actually, that she made fun of me. And most humiliating thing, and I literally I stood up, and well, I was already standing, and then I said I had been raped and I had to have an abortion. Like, the way she treated me, I didn't even want to like deal with the law school thing after that. Like, it was too much. And I was trying to get the restraining order too, because his friends kept coming to the club back to back. I hit one of them in the head a month ago. Okay, during that summer as well. Oh god, that's horrible. After the abortion, I was so angry at everything, and I had a project, and I just released it. Like, probably a month after. And then that summer too, while I was studying for law, I think it was right before I studied for law. I think that's what happened. Right before, I got asked to be a artist resident at a studio that was owned by Quality Control, and one of the waitresses too at my current club, she was asked to do it as well. But the thing, it was so disorganized, and this is probably stupid of me, but because I was already working nights, so I guess I was still at Cheetah when this happened. Because I was working nights, I wanted to go there from 12 a.m. and work until 4 a.m. And the reason I did that as well was because that was the last slot. So I could work all the way until 6 a.m. if I wanted to. But it was the men. The men in charge. It was just inappropriate. Like, one of them was fine. The other one, the engineer guy, was great. The other one, I forget his name. It was like Nah something. And I just remember him telling me about his cheating problem he had, and then him telling me about his girlfriend not knowing he was there, and then it just, I just felt like, he never touched me or did anything weird, but it just felt very unprofessional to me. And I'm very aware that I'm a dancer, but I've been around people that still make it professional. And even if it's not professional, it's on a friend level. I don't have this weird feeling that you're gonna try and fuck me. Especially when you have a girlfriend. So there was that whole thing. My friend left. She's not really my friend. I think she's low-key jealous of me. I don't talk to her. But she left. And then I was about to leave, but then I was like, hold on, let me wait this out. And then two, my other friend, she was the one who got me into it initially, and she told me about the opportunity, and that's how they got me, because it was word of mouth. And the studio too, it was like, there was a children's home down the street, and they were trying to put all these after school programs as a children's home, and then they were trying to get grants for that. And then they were doing the artist resident program too. I forget how many artists they had. I think it was a lot. But it was like the top part of the studio, and it was built on the hill, and then the major part downstairs. Apparently Drake records there. So that's cool, I guess. I never went down there. There was a door. I thought about going down that door. I never did though. But yeah, I was gonna leave, and then I just got this email one day telling me that I was no longer, like, I couldn't be there, that they didn't want me there anymore. And after that, I got upset at everyone. Oh yeah, that was two. Fuck, I forgot about that guy. There was another guy who was like the head of everything, and he actually worked with quality control, and he was doing the same thing, like just doing passes at me. And it's like, can't I just be a product to you? Like, can't I just be a beautiful, talented product to you? Like, do you have to, like, sexualize me for yourself? Yeah, so after that, went into the law thing. I did work for a lawyer for a year. I interned for him. And that was cool. I met him at the strip club. He was great though. I have no complaints about that. He always said that he didn't want me to tell him where we met, but I mean, since I don't work for him anymore, doesn't matter. Then in April of this last year, March of this last year, I met a boyfriend, and I was with him for like 2 months. The reason, oh God, he was very talented. He was a producer, very, very talented. He was working with, what's that guy's name? There was this one major artist he was working with, and he would always sell that guy beats. And he would get paid like $2,000 for his beats through that guy. I remember one time too, I made a cell for him because I was pissed at him because he was supposed to be with me, and instead it was like 4 a.m. he calls me, and his neighbor came over, and his neighbors, it was a dad and a daughter, and then I was going off on him, and I was mad at him because he didn't go to the major artist. He was supposed to see him that night, and he was supposed to make a beat and sell it for him, and he didn't. And then I was yelling at him on the phone, and I was like, if you have this type of person like on your line, like, why would you not be there? And then I think I mentioned too how much it cost, or it was just the person. I was really talking him up, and because of that, the dad heard everything, and he bought his beat. I think it was for like 2,000, like right there too. That was me. That was me going off on him. But he was great. I was with him for 2 months. He was sweet. He got me back into singing because he was talking just about how talented I was and that I didn't know. And it's not that I don't know. It's that I went through all this shit right now. And this is halfway through the list. I'm not done yet. And that was within a year and a half. And this is April 2024 we're in now. But that boyfriend, he got me back into singing, and he was just telling me that I didn't know how talented I was at it and that I could go so far with it. And his words were giving me life. So then I started going back out and performing again, and I kind of felt like shit because my last album, it was like a year old, and I had a goal of putting out a new project every year, and I couldn't. I did not sing for a year. Not in the car, not in my home, nowhere. I didn't think I was going to sing again. Because of the rape. But the producer... Oh yeah, so then I started trying, and I told myself, let me do... I think it was 1 open mic a week. So I was doing 1 open mic a week, and then by the 3rd week I did it for this studio, and I ended up getting hired at the studio. And at that time, there was a girl who left. And it was kind of confusing because they wanted 2 roles for me at that studio. They wanted me to host the open mic and just do like a lot of paperwork back end stuff, but then they also wanted me as an artist. So that caused a lot of problems later because I was split between 2 roles. But I ended up going to work for them, and I was there 3-4 days a week. It was a lot. But when I got hired there, my boyfriend at the time, I got hired there. Then his best friend got drafted into the NFL. And that was my first time ever experiencing an NFL draft. I never knew anything about like I think the 5 different levels. And I believe his friend was on like the level 5. Which is great. Like, you get paid. Like, it's an amazing opportunity to even be there. And I remember like telling someone about it, and they were talking shit about it only being level 5. And it's like, you can do it. But because of that, it was like he was mourning his best friend while I was with him. And at that very end, because things were going well with me singing, and his best friend went to the NFL, he just couldn't handle it. And he was jealous. Like, the way he talked to me was so disrespectful. And it was because he saw me at like this low level when he first met me. And then I went like this in a matter of 2 months. Because that studio I worked for, it was all of, there was an artist manager there who's now facing life in prison. Man, I don't even give a shit anymore. Like, who the fuck am I protecting? I'm not protecting anybody. He's facing life in prison for distribution of fentanyl and coke. And he was connected with Quavo's people. And so I went from here to here in a matter of like a month. And he couldn't handle it. And then it only lasted 2 months, and then I was done with it. But you know, in the beginning he was very sweet, and he lived an hour away, and he was driving an hour to come see me. He actually he left his great-grandmother's funeral in Virginia. He like drove all the way up there. He left it to come back and have sex with me. Okay. But yeah, then I went to, and that was the other part too that was hard, because once I worked for that studio, the artist manager I was just talking about, he wanted me so bad, and I was juggling the producer at the time that I was dating, who was broke and lived an hour away, and he lived with his mother. And I'm sure he's going to be successful. There's no way he can't be successful. He was handsome. He was talented. But speaking from a woman's perspective, I'm already working hard. Like, I can't... it's not stable. So it was him, and then it was the artist manager. And the artist manager knew that I was... that I had a boyfriend at that time. And I left him. And then the artist manager was there. And I don't want to say too... I'm not going to say too much. I have a lot of respect for him. There are some things I'm still very pissed at. And I was around him for 4 months? 5? 4. About 4. And being in that environment really made me believe in myself again. It was hard because I was one of 2 women. It was the studio owner's wife, me, and then just a bunch of men. And I was the only white person there. And no one knew how to refer to me because I was put in 2 boxes. They wanted to make a bunch of money off of me. They also wanted to sign me to a record label. They ended up making a record label. Oh, that was the other thing too. When I worked for the QC studio, a year prior, they wanted to do distribution deal as well. So by the time I got to the studio, this was my 3rd time at like some form of a record deal and it not working. And they even went to the bank and started their own record label. I don't want to say because of me, but I feel like it was because of me. But I didn't feel like I was doing all the back end stuff, so I really didn't feel like they had the capabilities to really develop an artist. And I mean, maybe develop an artist, but not to push an artist out there. Like, you could argue they had the connections for it and they could figure out how to get it done. But when I was there, it just didn't feel like the infrastructure was there for me to be signed to them for several years. And the downfall of it was really the wife, and some other people, because the studio owner, I love him so much, so much. He did so much for me. I'm really trying not to name names. I hate naming names, unless they're famous. Sorry. But he did so much for me. But his wife got jealous towards the end. The other people were there that got jealous towards the end because I was recording songs for him. He wanted me to host this show that they were going to put on Tubi, and I was going to be but I just felt kind of weird about everything because I felt like the paperwork wasn't, this is neither here nor there, but yeah, everyone just got really jealous towards the end, and it was a hard environment to be around it. And then the wife turned on me and she never wanted to be around me, and I saw her as a mother when I first got there, and it was like she was competing with her husband for attention. And some point in there too, I started dating my the millionaire guy, the one who got me the lawyer the year prior. I started dating him because I was worried, because I was around all these like just drug people, and I knew he was the only person that I knew that could handle all of that for me, because he managed artists as well. Never managed me, but he managed artists as well, and he was the only person that I knew in Atlanta that I felt like safe with, because that was a whole nother level. Like, me telling you that somebody who at one point offered me money for a relationship, knew where I lived, at least the general area, knew where I worked, had access to my schedule. For that person to be in jail right now, facing life, and I was this close to getting caught up in that. This fucking close. Anyways, I left about a month before everything went down. There was one day too where he thought the FBI was following him, which they were. It's not funny. And this is the trauma response. I'm sorry, it's not funny. And he left his phone in the studio while I was there, while the wife was there, and led them right back to us. And then he was like just not present for a week. He was just like, or at least a few days. He didn't have his phone. He was like, but they got him. So, I mean, he was right. And he was the person who was supplying all the money into that studio. So everything fell apart after he got locked up. And I've never, like, I've experienced people going to prison before, but I've never experienced, and especially the fentanyl charge, because I had a friend die from that, an overdose on fentanyl earlier this year. And that hurt me really bad to know that he was the same kind of person who would have caused my friend to die. And my friend who died too, he was a rapper. And I was pissed at him when I first met him. I forget what happened. Like, we ended up being friends. Then I didn't like him because he did something. And then I made him pay me $20 to unblock him. And he was in rehab too. He already had a drug issue and he was in rehab in the Bahamas. And then he came back and I saw him at the club and he wanted to go into the studio with me. He was planning to do a song with me before he died. And then he just died. And that was earlier this year. Yeah, it really hurt me though to hear, and people want to say that like it's not true and that whatever he was doing, it wasn't that, but regardless of what drug it was a drug. And I saw the money, you know, I saw all the chains. Mine are fake. Mine are gladly fake, but I saw all this shit. Like, you don't just get that shit from, I mean, maybe music, but I fucking doubt it. And he had already spent like 10 years in prison and he went right back in. But that shit hurt. I don't even know if he was like capable of loving me, but anyways, after that, I left music. A producer ended up finding me through my club's Instagram. He was going through the following to see which girls were there. Damn, 30 minutes is gonna be a big upload. Whatever, I need watch hours. I have like 300 right now, and I'm almost at 1,000 viewers, and how the fuck am I gonna get to... It's fine. We're gonna do this. This producer found me and I took a tour of his studio, and then I was dating this other guy at that time, and that guy was crazy, and I had given him my location, which was a big mistake. I don't know what to fuck him. But I went to the new producer and I only went 3 times, and I wish I knew what I knew now, but working with him, it felt like a godsend because I finally got out of the environment, you know, of the drugs and everything. And I was like, okay, here's somebody who values my talent. But he never valued my talent. He only wanted to work with me because he knew I was a stripper and because he knew where I worked. That was the only reason. And my dumb ass was like, oh wow, he actually believes in me. And he knew I was talented. He did believe I was talented, but he wanted to turn me into an Ice Spice and he wanted me to twerk everywhere. But I didn't have a problem with it though, because the way he was selling it, it made sense. Even though my talent is better than that. The way he was picturing me being this like trap ballerina thing, and then I just twerk in the middle of doing ballet. And I was like, okay, I already do that. But the reason he was doing that, it wasn't, I mean, maybe because it was the videos, but he wanted to, have your cake and eat it too. And there was one night where I was with him, and it was like he broke me down so bad because he was saying that he wanted to take videos of me dancing in the studio. And it was supposed to be me dancing to my own songs, and I even brought this camera. And I mean, he has a video of his security camera footage of me splitting in the middle of his studio and doing like a handstand. But he wanted me to twerk on him. And there was an artist too who got signed at the studio I had been at prior, and I felt like she didn't work as hard and she was a lot less qualified than me. And he was just telling me in my head that like that happened because she wasn't afraid to dance, that all these people were just dancing and seeming, you know, available, and he was trying to say that that's what it took. and he like broke me down so bad in my head and was trying to make it like the sexual thing was what made it work. And there was just moments where he touched me and I felt so like repulsed too, but it really broke me. Like, imagine somebody recording you, hearing your music, hearing your story, acting like they give a fuck, and then in the end they're telling you, what do I need to do? Give you 100 ones so you'll dance? Because you say you only dance for money. Somebody tell you that you're not going to make it unless if you do this, but you're not really doing it for you, you're doing it for them, for their own perverted. And then the whole time they're just talking shit about other men being perverted, and you're like, oh my god, he's on my side, and then he's not, and then he grabs your hair, and then he's fucking touching you, and then trying to hug on you, and you're there alone in a studio with someone who you believed was going to take you to the next level. My camera just died, which is probably better because it was already at 35 minutes and that was going to take forever for the file to transfer. I was telling you about the producer. So after that, I was like, fuck this shit. I had gone back to Atlanta Ballet at this time too. And I was like, fuck this shit. I don't want to work with him no more. And I never told him why. It was upsetting too because here's some lore for you. He worked with this girl who I was on American Idol with 2 years ago. And I reached out to her too, telling her that I was working with him, and I was in a music video for her earlier this year, and the music video, they put a lot of money into that, and funny enough, the same people who produced it are the same people who produced the David video for him. Like, they had a music video where he killed his girlfriend. I worked with the same film crew back in May of this year, I think. And he worked with her, and I had reached out to her, and I did another project for her too, which I never heard about what happened with that. And I only got paid like $50 to do that, and I was a background dancer, and I did like a drop split for them. I was wearing this outfit, and they were telling me I couldn't like post anything about doing that performance, but like I only got paid $50. I didn't sign shit, but I never posted anything, which is upsetting. I should go back and repost it. But I don't know what happened with that. And that was for Juicy 2X that I did that for. But her video back in May, that didn't go out either. But she worked with the same guy, and this guy produced the song for that video. And I reached out to her, and she never like got back to me, and I thought it was really odd at the time, and I just kind of brushed it off. But he probably made advances on her too, and that's why she stopped working with him. That's probably exactly why. I just wish she had told me. It would have saved me time instead of me wondering like, this is weird, why didn't you respond? And I mean, people get busy too, so maybe it was nothing, but and then again, it is something, because she was watching my story like every day, and then I just hid my story from her because I felt weird about it, because I thought initially I thought like maybe she felt weird that I was working with her same producer, but then after he did what he did, I was like, oh my god. Then I was angry. I was like, fuck, you could have saved me from this. Like, what the fuck? What the fuckity fuck? Oh, and I was in a bunch of music videos this last year, but that was positive, so we're only talking about the negatives. It's really hard, too, to believe in yourself when you go through all of these experiences, and then also when you're around a bunch of artists and the spotlight is on them. Because that's what I tend to do. I tend to, like, downplay my own stuff and just tell myself that it's not the right time. Because I'm not sure it is the right time. I don't know when the right time is, but I do know all these lessons I learned that I wish I hadn't learned them. Like, I wish I had family support or a friend that was going with me to everything, but I didn't have that, so I made do with what I had. It's made me very strong. But there's that one line Glorilla says, whoever they make the strongest is the weakest, there for when anybody needs it. Also too, right before I dated the producer boyfriend in April, I had a friend come from Orlando. I made a video about him too. And we became friends, I think, maybe last August. I don't know when he left. I don't know. He just became very entitled towards the end of our friendship, and I didn't want to be around it. But he also, like, was a big deal into, like, encouraging me and me getting back into music. And I hope he's good, but I just don't want to be around it. But it wasn't just that boyfriend that I had. It was him, too. And he was just a friend. Just a friend. Okay, so going back to the old producer, I left him, I think in October, and then I took a break from music again, and I was just like, fuck it, I don't want to focus on this right now. I just want to focus on getting my money, and that be it. And I think I went to one karaoke. That was fun. Tiger, I like them a lot. But I went to, I started dating this guy in November. I dated him for 3 weeks. He was a bodybuilder, but he had like, I don't know what the word is, body dysmorphia. And he like was doing really well on Instagram, like getting, hundreds and thousands of views and then like millions of views. But he wasn't doing like that great. Like he had 5,000 followers, but then his views were so high. And I never really went into his content until after, I left him. And it was because he was rage baiting everyone, and he was telling everyone how they were losers and how they needed to like work out and why women didn't want them. And it was probably his own rhetoric in his own head that he was like spitting out at everyone, but it worked. And he actually called me fat too. I didn't appreciate that because I'm not fat, I'm thick. And he called me fat. I didn't like that. And he was big into getting me back into music as well, but it just turned to be this toxic thing because I remember we were in the car and I played my music for him, and he was like, oh my God, this is actually like really good. Like, you're better than Billie Eilish. And I was like, really? And he told me he would help me and that he would film music videos for me, but he was saying that I had to help myself too. And I was like, okay, like I don't think now is the right time, but I'm taking what you're saying seriously. And then it was like 2 weeks later, he comes to me, and this man was 33 at the time. Let me also say too, his biggest red flag was us going to Chick-fil-A and him telling me that he couldn't afford Chick-fil-A until 4 years ago. It's Chick-fil-A. Like, he was always going to make me work in that relationship. He was not going to... I'm glad he's gone. He had no sense of responsibility to take care of the women he was with. That's why... That's why it's better to date a medium ugly man, because once you go for the attractive ones, they think they're the woman. But yeah, it was like 2 weeks later, and he FaceTimed me, and he was telling me about how he wanted to create this music video, and he sent me an old song he did, and I was giving him very great instructions, and then we had that argument, and I didn't hear from him for like a couple days, and then I just cut him off completely and blocked him and told him why. But he got very upset, and I was telling him things that were true. He just couldn't handle it, and I was trying to help him, and I was telling him that I thought he should go more into the R&B route, that he could really be something serious and could really make it. And then I was telling him about the domains and how he needed a website and how like he should have his music in his bio because he needs something to sell, because you go to his Instagram bio and it's not leading you anywhere. And I got my degree in entertainment management. I studied this shit for like 3 years, and I was telling him all of this, and he took it so like personally, like the criticism really hurt him. And then he made his Instagram private and his TikTok private. It was honestly kind of scary. Like, he couldn't take any of the shit I was saying to him. And I wasn't even saying it like out of malice. I was saying it because that's what I know. Like, I would tell anybody what I was telling him. And his music wasn't that bad either. It wasn't like great, but it wasn't bad. Like, I thought he had something serious, and he could sing too. Not like really well, but he could sing. But I just felt like he was trying to compete with me, and I was confused too why he had made me his project, and then he just kind of scrapped it and then wanted to make himself his own project. But there's nothing wrong with that. It was just a very strange, and then it was done. So I did leave him because I didn't hear from him. And then I was like, well, fuck you. Like, you're not gonna like silence treatment me as like some kind of punishment because I told you the truth. But yeah, there was him. Then after that, I was like, fuck the music. And then I recently started dating this, well, yeah, I guess I can say that. Dating, I mean, there's somebody new. And he's also doing music. And it really inspired me to go back into it because I'm not doing fuck. I shouldn't say too much. He worked for it for a really long time, and then he's now seeing results from it, and it inspired me because I've also been doing this for, I can't say I've been doing it as long as him because my first project I didn't put out until 2021, but I was trying to get on singing shows since like 2017. So I've been doing it. It's coming up on 10 years. It's not 10 years yet, but it is coming up. And I had like a singing YouTube channel too when I was like 17. So it is coming up on 10 years, but he's been doing it longer. And his success inspired me. And then I've just been really thinking like, why did I stop? Because when I got to Atlanta, you couldn't tell me shit. I was so delusional. Like, I really felt like I was going to make it. And I don't know how I feel now. I know I'm going to be successful. I don't know in what way it's going to reach me. I just really believe in God, and I believe everything is under his timing, and there's only so much that I can do. Because all these things that I'm telling you about, all these opportunities, every day that I got one of these opportunities, it wasn't, yes, I worked for it, and yes, I networked for it, but it was God. Every single time. I was like, earlier this year, I was an extra. I did a video for, I made a video about it. I did it for Claire Sorhan, however you say it. I was a background dancer for her. And then the same day, I was a homeless person for Kai Sanat, but Ray, for his stream. And I got casted for that just like out of the blue. And oh yeah, I was dating that millionaire guy at the time, but I left him because he didn't want to commit to me. But he like, oh shit, this is another story too. There's so much that has happened. Because it's like, when you're at the bottom, you'll get these men that either, oh my God, I got 2 stories for you. I have 2 stories for you, and then it's done. When you're at the bottom, people either use your dream to get close to you and fuck you because they can't figure out how to get a woman. So they either manipulate you that way, or they're actually like gonna believe in you and then make you their muse and then tell you all this shit that you have to do because it gives them like a sense of control. The day that millionaire guy told me that I wasn't his girlfriend, I didn't cheat, but I did. I went on a boat with this other guy who was a rapper too, and he was signed to somebody else. I don't fucking remember. And I went on this boat on Lake Lanier, and I didn't have sex with him. I didn't do anything for him, but he did stuff for me. But that millionaire boyfriend, I really loved that man. I did. I don't think he ever loved me. He had 3 kids, 3 baby mamas, and I was thinking back on it recently, and I was like, why the fuck did this man just like watch me struggle and dance? And he was like, he was there sort of, but he really, oh shit, 0 minutes, fuck, let me finish this up. Anywho, that guy on the ship, he was telling me, okay, we're back. The guy on the boat, he was telling me all these things I needed to do for music, and he was telling me about this girl he used to manage who danced at the same club I danced at until she left, and he truly believed he was gonna make her blow up. And I think he was thinking the same thing of me. I don't remember what I did to fuck it up though. It was kind of scary though. He was like a real control freak. Like, it was like, honestly, like kind of scary. Like, you think like being on a boat is fun until you're on a boat and then there's like two men that work for him and then he's ordering them around and getting angry at them, and then you're just like in a corner wondering when he's gonna like lose his shit with you. But I never gave him anything. That's probably what messed it. um And then I told the millionaire like a week later what I did. But he already knew because I was... I sent him videos of me on the boat that day. Oh, that man was so toxic too. But yeah, it was frustrating because he told me that I was the sweetest person that he ever met. And I really think I was. And I had such an attachment to him because I felt like he could handle anything. And there was no other man that I met that I felt like could handle every situation, because he was like, he was 45, he was older, but he ran like 6 different businesses, some illegal, but I always felt like safe, because I'm telling you, every single problem I had, he was the only one that I felt like knew how to handle it, until I got to a point where I honestly felt like I was too smart, and it didn't feel like he could handle it anymore. Like, I remember telling him about a certain tax evasion that I had found out about, and he was trying to tell me about how much it didn't matter, and I was like, how the fuck do you think this doesn't matter? Like, this contributes directly to this business's infrastructure and how they're running it. Like, what the fuck do you mean it doesn't matter? Like, this is a sign for a larger problem. Yeah, I was really pissed about that. But I did love him. I did. But I don't think he loved me. I think he was attached to me, but I think he really just saw me as more of a possession. And when I think back, it's like, why the fuck didn't he, like, get me out of dancing? I think he was fucking other people. I really do. And even though he told me that I wasn't gonna be his girlfriend, he didn't want me to be with anyone else. Like, it was a very just... But nobody had ever hired a lawyer for me before. Like, that was a big deal to me. And I kind of feel like he did exploit that at the very beginning. Because it was 6 months fresh of that. But him... Oh my god, what was the other story I was going to tell? Fuck. It's going to come back to me. There was someone else that I did. There was the boat. Oh, recently, actually. This was in October. There was someone who I thought I was friends with, and this is probably my mistake, but then it gets confusing, because when people ask you to work late, it's like it's a normal thing, because I'm used to writing songs at 3 a.m. And I had one friend, and I mean, you could say he never really did anything inappropriate, but he invited me over and said he wanted to work on music with me, but it was never about the music. And then I like completely trauma dumped on him, and then he was trying to cuddle me but I never saw him that way, and we didn't do any music. He didn't record me. He didn't do shit. And then he was trying to get me in his bed, and I did sit in his bed, and then I sat like all the way away from him, and then he just kept trying to cuddle me, and then I left early, and then he was like, "Why are you leaving? Why are you leaving?" I don't know. I guess I'm still on good terms with him. I haven't spoken to him though, because I just felt like our personalities go together well, but it's like, why did you turn us being friends and us being cool into you making a move on me? And then using music to get me there. I think I went there at midnight, but it was on a weekend, and I was like, oh, this will be fun. And it wasn't. It was nice to trauma dump on him though, because then I kind of used him in that sense, but... So there was that. Oh, and then recently, one of my producer friends, he sent me a template, and I finally figured out how to work it, and now I will never have to go to a studio again. So that's the happy part to this story. But yeah, when people tell you about how hard it is to make it in music, the hardest part is just like avoiding the men. and then having to get other men to protect you from the bad ones. And it's just a cycle of men, because the whole thing is run by men. And me already doing the stripping thing, like, it's like objectification on another level, because I'm already in the sexual atmosphere, but then to be in the music atmosphere, it's like I'm having my identity pimped out. Like, different people are trying to decide for me what I'm going to be, how I'm going to present myself to the world. It's the same thing with stripping, but then one more thing too that I just remembered. Okay.